pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we have the roll call.
Bruce?
Here.
Wayne?
Here.
Myself, here. John?
Here.
Bill?
Here.
I'm here.
And Hannah's absent, but she'll be here, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let's have a motion for approval for the agenda today.
I would move to approve today's agenda.
I would second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on, looking at the minutes for April 3rd and June 5th.
Let's take two separate motions.
Two separate motions?
Yes, please.
The one for April 3rd. I have a motion for approval.
Move to approve April 3rd.
Second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, a motion for approval of June the 8th,
June 5th.
June 5th, excuse me.
Yeah, no, it's okay, John.
I would move to approve June 5th.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. In terms of grants, the state DNR has come out with a lot of money for outdoor improvements or projects, and I'm looking for some ideas. Anybody have any brainstorms that they've had dreamed about or off the top of their head?
Is it, what all would be covered, John, or? what-
Everything under the sun.
Oh, really?
Really?
Is it a
Not,
matching?
not so much recreation, you know, like baseball fields, but outdoor areas.
Is it a matching, or
10% match is required,
up to, how much?
up to $1 million.
Oh,
Well,
hey, well, our Parklands fund is a little over 100,000, so that's, we won't be able to go to 1 million.
No, I understand. I was thinking of something under around 50,000 or so. Could do something. Well, if you have any brainstorms, email them to Bill and he can forward them.
I'll do that.
Okay? Thank you.
When is the deadline, John, on that? Just,
Mid-September.
oh, okay, so it's next month, okay.
Okay, moving on. I mean, for the amphitheater?
Yeah, the reason I moved the meeting from its normal night, tomorrow night, Wednesday, to today is because we have a show out there tomorrow. And I'm still working through, helping out our facility guy that we hired, or the promoter hired, to do the operations out there. So I'm still keeping a little bit of a heartbeat on that and helping him out. So that's why we moved to tonight. Other than that, successful season so far. I think we're at eight plus 9 concerts so far. The promoter did cancel one of the shows a week ago, just for lack of, there wasn't enough ticket sales, so he ended up saying it would have been easier for him to take the loss with not putting the show on because of the production costs, so. So we have 3 this week, tonight, or tomorrow night, and then Friday, Saturday. Some of the bigger names of, that we've had is Day to Remember started it. That was well over 3,500 people. Then Beach Boys was a really great showing, if anybody got out there for that. Then we had Three Dog Night and Little River Band. That was huge. And then we've had a couple other smaller bands. Jason Mraz was a really nice show. And then Jewel and Melissa Etheridge last Thursday. was the most ticket sales that we've had the year, but it wasn't the most attended, so. But this week we've got Yes and Palmer from Emerson Lake and Palmer going to be there to do something. Friday night is Stray Cats and Dwight Yoakam, which is another big sellout, almost a sellout for us for Saturday night. We take a little break until after Labor Day. Central Minnesota, Celebrate Minnesota, excuse me, which is a Christian youth or Christian organization. Last 2 years they've been doing their concerts out at Whitney Park. This year they moved it to the Ledge. They've got some really high quality Christian musicians coming. I enjoy the music, and these are some really high level bands. So it's selling okay at this point, but we'll see where that goes. Then we follow it up later that week. I think it's Thursday with Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, which is another huge seller for us. And Saturday there's another show. It's more of a rock band from the 90s. It's doing okay. And then they added one more show towards the end of September. It's Cypress Hill. I don't even really know what they are or who they are, but yeah, they won't be ones that pack the house. And then we ended up on October 5th with Ledgetober. This year we've got really high quality local bands playing there, so ticket sales aren't that great right now. I think that's just because people wait to see what the weather's going to be like. You know, when you get into the first part of October, you can have a beautiful Saturday afternoon, 70 degrees, or you can have rain and cold. So, Michael Shines, he's a local musician here, friend of mine. He's playing out there, and then the dueling pianos, Ted Manderfield, and his Dick, can't remember his last name. So between the two of them, and they got huge followings in the local area. So, yeah, it's been going very, very well out there. Starting to get a few things more ironed out over time, but we're getting there. Quite a few sponsorships this year that have been sold, so that's helping out. We'll know the total value of that at the end of the year once we get through all the books and see where we're at. But 2 car dealers are out there right now, and they display their cars and got a bunch of other things going on. So, yeah. At the end, it's going to be a successful year. I think total with local events, 3 of them, and then 15 national acts. So we had 18 shows out there this year. So a week ago, that was a brutal one for my staff. We had our first back-to-back, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that took a little toll on them. We had Monday off. We were supposed to have a show Tuesday. Thank goodness that canceled, but then we had a Wednesday and then a Friday. So we had 5 shows in 8 days. So they were a little tired, including me. So it was people love it there, the musicians. So yeah, I'll just leave it there. So any other questions or? Oh, okay.
Thank you. Landscape coordinator.
I'm going to piggyback a little bit on what Bill said, because with the ledge in the amphitheater, you just feel like you're going and it's time to wrap it up and pull everything. It's like you're just hitting your momentum and your stride, and things are clicking along really good, and it's like, okay, that's the end of the season. Kind of feels that way with the flowers too. You get to that stride and it's like, okay, things are really clicking there. Things are finally starting to look really good, and wait, that one's going too far, but this one, so I can see the same thing with our gardens. We have, some gardens that need extensive cleanup and thinning out, and other gardens that we're just starting, that we're planting in and putting things in. So to start out Rock Garden, city staff has been working diligently at helping get that rock garden under control right along the walking trail. And it's looking so much better already. It really is. We did plant 3 new gardens this year. Not that they were new to the city, but they were new due to either overgrown or died out. So we've got River's Edge that is on its way to being planted, and it's turning out to be quite beautiful. Picked up a gorgeous hydrangea tree shrub that we put in there, and that will be beautiful once it's in the center and be the attention grabber. We also have walking trail, on the walking trail, gardens 1 and 5, and 1 is fully planted. 5, we're still picking bits and pieces and putting things in there, so we're good there. Planning a library cleanup, so things are pretty tight in there right now, so we need to do some thinning out and moving some things around. And as always, we get to this point of the year and we start picking things out, and I think, gosh, where are we gonna put them? So, we don't know yet where we're going to put some of these things. We'll find spots, though. We usually do, somewhere along the line. So we're gonna be doing some thinning. We have 2 new volunteers this year. That brings our numbers up to, I believe, 23. And that's really about it. And if you're looking for DNR ideas, we did talk briefly, Bill and I, about a tree line along River's Edge. That might be an option.
Oh, on the
River's
north.
Edge Park, we talked about the tree line along the boulevard, kind of. Or is that already
Internal,
taken care of?
I will talk about that in a little bit, but yeah.
Okay, because that might be one option.
Yeah, no,
I'm sure I could find all sorts of ways
Yeah.
to spend money. You just caught me on this, you know, with no good ideas in front of me right now. So, I did find out, we don't in the city have a lot of lilacs, but if you have lilacs in your yard and you're seeing that they're dying out, that is natural this year. It's an, kind of, it happens when we have too much water. It's a blight. They look like they're just, that they've been sprayed with poison, my lilacs in my yard. And the extension office just put out some information that known problem, and they have really good information on that, how to take care of it if you're interested, and if you have lilacs that are looking tough. So, not to worry, don't pull them out, they'll be back next year. They're just not real great this year. That's what I have for you this time around.
There was somebody, I can't remember, is it an aster? Is there a problem with asters or some sort of flower that the bud is turning a different color and it's, I might have it wrong,
I haven't
obviously.
heard. I'm kind of surprised our bee balm looks as tough as it does. Usually bee balm looks so healthy at this point of the year, and some of it's looking a little wilted. I don't know. I think the whole season is just off. It's just off. We've had perfect rain, but we had it so early and blooming so early that things just, even the annuals I find a little lackluster. They're just, things aren't quite right. And it was a cool beginning. It just didn't heat up until 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So, some of them are doing spectacular, and others that are, you know, your normal everyday showstoppers are going, not so much. So, I haven't heard about an aster yet, but
And I may have the flower wrong.
no surprise.
But,
We certainly have the beetle that is doing its damage along every garden, and there's not much you can do about that except pick them off.
okay.
So,
I have one other question, John. So, when do you do your year-end party? Have you set the,
October,
have you set the date yet for it?
not yet, but it's the third Thursday in October.
What is the date? 20, oh,
I don't know yet.
you said third Thursday?
Yep.
Okay.
I have to come up with a game if you have any ideas.
17th, sound right?
Sure,
And that's still a community park
It-
again?
is, yes.
Okay,
17th of October. It's
I-
super fun.
it is. I went last year. Jeannie did a great job. I'm sure you had some help, or was it all you? I'm not sure. I want to give kudos to anybody that helped you,
You
but,
know what? I get help from all sorts of places,
okay.
so.
Very, very fun. And so I know that if you folks want to attend it, you are more than welcome to come down there and
Play
congratulate
games,
these
win
people.
prizes.
These people work very hard and,
You were there too.
yeah, yep. So, yeah, make sure that we keep us up to date.
I'll have to look. We'll probably do like a 5:30. Oh, we just said it now. 5:30, October 17th.
Do you want to send me an email on it, and
I
then I
will.
can pass it out, back out to you folks?
I
So,
will, yes.
October 17th.
I can even
So,
send you invitations individually if you'd like.
It's however you want to do it. but-
Because you know what, I just have Janice make me up some pretty flower cards.
Well, there you go.
And I'll just send some.
Okay, moving on to the park fees for this coming year. Bill passed out a sheet.
So it basically, I reformatted this so that you can kind of get the whole history of it. So looking over on the left side, you'll see where the rate has been highlighted, like in a little yellow. That's the year that we raised the rate. So you can see we haven't raised the rates very much. Last year we did, for 25. So again, when we ask now because the rental goes in effect a year from now. So January 1st, people can start renting for January of 26. So if we want to raise the rates, we can do that. I would tell you, I think that we are very solid of where we're at this point. And I would suggest that the park board recommend that we don't raise them for this year. But it's your discussion. You guys can, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. It's just my opinion.
Any input?
You kind of break even with the amount they pay for what we have to do. So for the residents, it's kind of a perk for them to be able to use it.
Correct. Correct.
That's a good thing.
Yep. That was the intention all along with it, but, yeah.
I would make a motion to keep it at 75.
And the same for non-residents at 175?
Yes.
Okay.
Have a second? All in favor?
Residents are at 160.
Thank you.
Do you want to relook at your non-residents? You said 175.
Oh, I did. I said, oh, yeah, thanks. Oh, geez,
Sorry about
dyslexia.
that.
It was 160, so I don't know if you could amend the motion to say 160 for Roger.
No.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
160, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeannie, for catching
Got
that.
the
That was
same,
my
so
fault.
that makes it 160.
Yeah, you were, well, there you go. Don't listen to me, just fill it what you want. All right, thank you.
Okay,
Park master plan.
the other master plan is the big sheet that Bill gave us,
So let's,
River's Edge.
yeah, so we'll just talk a little bit about kind of a couple things here. So what you see in front of you was a plan I think we did back in 14 where between the council and park board came up with this final master plan to finish off River's Edge Park. So that's been 10 years ago. It's amazing how time flies. But things that you will notice on this sheet is the green is the trails. I can tell you that this hasn't been updated. I just pulled it out of the mothball computer, and printed it this afternoon. The green trail along 10th Avenue, from the north property by the railroad tracks all the way to the corner at 3rd Street, that is completed. That was done over a couple grants that John got us. We did one grant for the north side and one for the south side, so.
$50,000.
Yeah, okay. So that trail system is done and good, and also along the river, or along the north line all the way across. It depicts where the new bridge is at, out there, so that whole north line, so the north side and the east side are completed. What we have left is what I call the south border, to 13th. It does show a trail going along the rest of 3rd Street and 15th. which we have tried to get some grants for and no luck. But that doesn't mean that we're not gonna keep looking for that. Other things that are on here that you'll see, that have been done and completed. Obviously, we completed the pickleball court. You can see that is shown in the blue there, so that is done and it's in the position. The picnic area is now the fitness court. We did that back in 17, if I remember right, 17 or 18. That was John getting us that grant for that fitness court. So one thing I'm gonna do with this is, I'm giving this tonight, and the reason I'll tell you why I'm explaining all this, I will get out another drawing of this to you that will be more updated, okay? Obviously, we have built the 2 baseball or softball fields, which we call Quick Trip 1 and 2. That is completed. And as far as that, that's it. One thing that's not shown on here is you'll see over by the river, by the Boy Scout building, you'll see a maintenance building. That's where we thought we were gonna put it. That ended up over by the pickleball court. So again, that's where we're at. What isn't done is our parking lots on the north side and the parking lot on the south. And then no interior trails have been completed. It shows a basketball court there in that open area right along that cul-de-sac. Over the years, we've had a couple ideas that John's brought forward. There's one type of basketball, kind of, it
Yeah.
wasn't a
It's called bank shot basketball.
bank shot.
If you want to see, your good colleague here gave me the referral on that, if you remember. I took it and I was able to get a grant for Tlahi. It's 24 baskets where kids can, we're talking elementary school kids, can shoot from different angles. I mean, we're talking not 9 foot, but short, banging off the back. It's really fascinating.
Bank shot.
Bank shot basketball. Look it up. It's quite interesting.
Yeah. How is it going over there, John, with that? Is that well received?
Oh, yes.
It is, okay. So that's something
Neighborhood
to
kids
consider.
use it a lot.
Okay, so keep that in the back of your mind here. So when back in, I think it was 18, I got to remember, I know it was after the pickleball courts. I asked SCH to draw up the plans to finish off this plan with the parking lots. Obviously, it needs storm sewer. We needed to do some more other things out there. The trails, lighting of all the rest of the trails, tree plantings and all that. If I remember right, I believe back then it was somewhere around $2.5 million to finish it off. Obviously, you won't get that today. The prices went up so much. So over the last year, it's been my desire to make sure that this gets done before I walk out of here. I don't know if that can happen or not. Council is looking to try to get at least the parking lots done, and that might be problematic also because of the cost. But so there's been a number of different thought processes on this. Do we continue on with their set of plans and just go as is, kind of seeing what's on here? Or is it time to, it's been 10 years, do we as staff, park board, city council, relook at this and go, is this really the best, is this how we want to finish it? Or is there something different that's come up that we want to do out there? What is our methodology? Do we need all these trails through here? Do we not? Do they all need to be lit? Do they not? Different items. So that's why it's in front of you, to come up as a redo of the park master plan. Along with that, typically in the past, we've had our engineer, architect, SCH help us. A few of you were around at the time. We're not gonna do that this time. We're gonna do it in-house. I'll spearhead it. I'll work with you folks. I'll work with the council. I'll work with staff, gather ideas, and we're gonna slowly put together a new master plan. It might stay the same, it might change, don't know. So the intention is hopefully here, maybe before the end of the year, that we can come up with a consensus to talk about it. Okay, hold that thought. Secondly, the city council approved last night hiring a construction manager to continue to move forward with the new PD's facility and renovation here. So the project's gonna move forward. There was conceptual drawings put out there. We've talked about this, where it was gonna encroach into the park a little bit, to the effect that if it stays on that track, don't know for sure, but if it stays on that kind of idea, the ball field would be removed. The nativity scene would stay, because it's short of that. And then the open air pavilion would have to be relocated, taken down, don't know. So with the City Hall expansion PD, this is an absolutely prime time to look at how can we finish off our community park and do it right, so it's a shining star, just like this building will be eventually. I mean, we've done a few things down there. I mean, we've got the set of bathrooms, we've got the community park pavilion. You know, the playground's almost 30-some years old, you know? I mean, do we need a volleyball court that anybody, there's just all these things. Do we work a trail system through it? Do we work in some sort of a water feature? The sky's the limit. So the only thing we know that will stay is the pavilions and the bathrooms for sure. And then the other two buildings. But we want to make anything that happens at Community Park after or during this process, we want to make that a showpiece as best we can. So some thoughts is to salvage the pavilion and put it back down there in another spot, or does it go to a different location? There's questions on the viability of actually taking that pavilion down and relocating it, because it was built out of railroad lumber and railroad piping, and the construction of it right now would not meet code, how it's built. So to put it back the same way would not pass. But you know what? Those are still decisions. Nobody's saying, yep, it's done and gone. Nobody's saying it's absolutely moving. So there's a lot of different options on the table. So but me and Shauna and some of the staff have talked about is, I want to get this in front of you. I want you guys to start thinking about possibilities. Is there some activity, is there some sort of function that you would like to see down there? Do you want to see hundreds and hundreds of trees planted? I mean, I look around the splash pad today, and it's beautiful down there. Those trees were small when we put it in 10 years or 14 years ago, but now look at it. It looks like a well-established park. So just keeping your mind ahead of that, what that looks like. One thing that I'm struggling with is the hockey rink. We haven't opened it for 4 years. It's the climate. As sad as that is, you know, we think Minnesota's so cold, but we've not had the right weather, either a snow or cold temperatures, to be able to do it. So there's a question of the viability of even, does that stay or not? I don't know. I mean, these are all things that I think we need to talk about as a group. So with that, one more comment. We had set up, because I have a vacation plan for our first meeting in October, so I won't be here. That's why I moved it to the 25th of September. After talking about that with staff today, I think here's what we're going to try to do, is we want to meet Park Board with the City Council on October 7th. It's still to be determined yet, but I would like to have you put it on your calendars. And we would do it in a workshop, you know, late afternoon, so that everybody at the table gets to talk about what their visions are. And hopefully, after we get all that, we put some stuff together and we all come to a conclusion that this is where we want to go. River's Edge would be figured out so that we can move forward with that. And Community Park may not be totally solid, but at least there's visions from both council, staff, and park board to say, this is what we like to see, how it would look.
What time did you say?
Don't know yet. No, I'll let you know, but, so, jump ahead. I'm not gonna hold an October park board meeting. I don't know if there's really enough on there for it. We'll wait till December and then use that work session to actually engage with the council to talk about these things. So, sorry, that was a lot to say. There's a lot of activity. But it's very exciting, I think, to finally say, let's get this thing done and let's figure out how to do it. So, questions?
Not a question, but we have a work day at Riverside Park coming up too.
What's that?
A cleanup work day at Riverside Park is scheduled. I've got it on my calendar at home. I don't have it with me.
Day of caring?
Well, yeah,
Yeah, I'll talk, yeah, that's another, I'll talk about that in a second, Bruce, but yeah. So, I mean, if you wanna throw things out tonight, that's fine, or if you just wanna think about it, that's fine too. Do you kind of understand the methodology of what we're trying to do? Does that make sense to everybody? Wayne?
Certainly can't move forward without doing some planning, and the more people you get involved in it, and the greater breadth of what you're talking about, because you mentioned a whole lot of things here.
Right.
And those all need to be considered in an overall park plan. And I think it's gonna have to be decided which is done first, how it's gonna get done. And personally, I really wanna see the parks get to where they are supposed to be, in the sense that we have a plan for it.
I would agree, yep. Is there anything else you guys want for more information, or are you good where you're at? I'll try to get something else out to you that's more current, and then maybe it'll just be in more of an aerial photo, but if nothing else, if you want to share them with me before we get together with the council, that's just fine. Send me an email, stop by my office, I don't care, But there's a number of different things. Like John said, the bank shot basketball. Can't really remember why we stopped it where it was. I don't know if you remember, John, but it was probably funding or something to that effect. I did get approached from a gentleman. Oh, it's probably been 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks. He asked the city if we would be interested in building a cricket batting cage. And he showed a picture of it. It looked very, very nice. And obviously, I do know it's an upcoming sport. It's just like everything. There's always an upcoming sport. I replied back to him and told him, I said, at this time, no, we are still trying to find the funds to be able to finish off our park system. So I appreciated it, but I said I will certainly keep it in the folder, as possible ideas. He replied back with, well, if I could get everything done and donated, would you allow it in the park? Okay, well, that changes it a little bit, but I think those are the type of things that I know about. So who would have ever thought that I'd be sitting here talking about somebody wanting to build a cricket? Okay, I'm sure it's very viable, and I'm sure it would be well received, but there's hundreds of different things to do. We've always wanted to do a dog park. There's all these ideas, and if nothing else, if you guys come to the meeting just with a list of ideas, what you'd like to see, so.
That bank shot basketball court was $135,000.
Was it? Okay, so I'm guessing it was due to finances of some sort. So does that make sense? And give you guys some homework to start thinking about?
yeah.
If nothing else, go down there for an afternoon and sit at the splash pad and look at it, and just kind of get a feel. It's kind of cool to see all the kids having fun down there. There is some things, I'm just gonna move right into park updates, if that's okay, because I've instructed Zach to start getting information to replace the AstroTurf in the playground, because that's coming on, I think, 12 years old, so how fast time flies. We're some of the equipment down there is starting to break down a little bit, where we've had to spend some money on refurbishing it. So I told him to go through the whole park as it is to start seeing where we're at, because a lot of that stuff is 10 to 15 years old. So we know things don't last forever, so we're gonna try to put something together as far as a capital improvement plan down there for items that need to be done. One of them is, for sure, is the bike share program that we have between St. Joe. City hosted the coalition conference here with St. Joe 2 weeks ago, and I was in charge of doing a bike tour. And so I led seven other individuals, and Frank Tyson was with me, so there was 9 of us. And we rode a bike from Park Event Center and down to the 3rd Street Trail. So I took them on the trail and showed them that and explained all the amenities of it and how we built it. They were really amazed. Then we went over to River's Edge Park and explained the pickleballs in the park. Then we ended up riding all the way over to St. Joe and then back. Utilizing, half the people brought their own bikes and the other half used our bike rentals. The bikes are getting in rough shape. So that's one thing that we're gonna be working with St. Joe on next year, is trying to figure out how we can get those replaced and get them upgraded. So that's one thing I'm working on down there. The other thing, and I'm just gonna go into it, Bruce, you're right, Day of Caring is September 16th. I think you guys got notified of it. I can't remember the time, I wanna say 9, but we'll get more information out to you on that. A couple things with that is, and Jeannie, you're right, we are gonna plant trees, and try to make a boulevard. And along the south side of River, or the road right there. So if you guys can see that, we're gonna try to make that a tree-lined boulevard. And then there's some other things that are happening right now that I can't really speak too much about, but there'll be probably some other things happening that day out there too that are pretty neat and cool. But once I make sure that everything is good to go on that, I will let you know. But so really, that's kind of where we're at the park at this time. Babe Ruth, I'll jump over there. There's nothing new except for they are requesting the city to put netting over the 2 new softball fields. We've done some really rough numbers. It's very expensive. Because the other netting is fine because you could go off of the backstops to the building, but there's nothing to go to. So you have to put a series of poles out there, and it's not ideal. I mean, I'm sure they would love to have it lit too, and that's really way out there too. So, but I'm sure those will be ideas that are gonna come through with the master plan, and maybe that is something that comes way down the road or something like that, but, so.
Anybody looked at the pickleball proposal we had last time with Lions Park?
I did not look any further into it, so.
Something else that can go in the whole kettle.
What's that?
That's something else that can go into the whole kettle of finishing parks.
Let's, yeah, I haven't talked to council about that yet. Let's talk about it, not so much when we get together with the council for a work session. I mean, there's other ideas. I know this gentleman here has been advocating, and it's fine, you get the time at the platform it's like, when are you gonna start looking at a Southside Park? Right?
Well, it's an investment in the future is what I see. When you look at all the land that the city has annexed, we've got a ton of undeveloped area. And I think made an investment for a community park is gonna pay back big dividends. I mean, 50 acres, for example, you know, in 20 years, it's gonna be 3 times the value of what we pay today. To me, this is an investment into the future. I've been a strong advocate for that.
And I know there's some on council that agree with you, so, yeah, I will try to stage it so much that it's not just River's Edge, not just community park. I'll leave it open for other ideas, so feel free to come up with ideas of what you want to talk. We haven't been together with the council for years, so this will actually be a good workshop to get together. And you guys get to share where you think that we should go, so.
I want to agree with John on the investment in future of parks. As we go through this stage where businesses are putting more pressure on people, people are putting more pressure on each other, parks are going to be more and more valuable to people's mental health as well as physical health. And I think we need to think about that while we're working with our parks.
Yeah, I mean, I got one that I'll throw on the table too. I mean, it's part of the ledge property, but we don't call it the ledge. It's the trail system through there. It's gravel, it's beautiful. I mean, frankly, I think it should be, it could stay gravel. I don't have any problems with that, but I think having it lit through there at nighttime would be a really nice amenity, especially for concert goers, but other people, if they were out there walking at night. And it does get used somewhat. I'm not gonna say a lot, but there's a couple of people that walk their dogs every day out there. They're in there the whole time.
When I am out there, and I'm usually out there when no one else is, and I see people out there walking dogs a lot.
So, anyway, that's kind of where we're at. So I appreciate your help. I appreciate your understanding of me moving meetings, and I apologize, Janice. But, so.
Okay, other business.
Last thing I have in, but we're working on budget right now. The only thing that I'm putting in this year's budget, and I'm not sure where it's gonna go, is, as I was just talking about, facilities getting old. Our splash pad equipment is starting to see some age. It's coming up on 14 years old, so I'm gonna put about 26,000 in for some refurbishing of some of the equipment down there. So we'll see how it goes with the council, but as far as that, the other park stuff, just kind of keeping the status quo at this point. My staff is pretty good, and the help with Jeannie and the flower, Way Park, we're holding our own, and it's looking beautiful out there. Could do a lot more. The other thing I'm gonna look at, and I forgot, so, I think before the end of the year, I'm gonna convene a committee of staff people, and I'm hoping this person right next to me will for sure sit in on it. It's time for our park signs to go. They're old blue signs that I put up 20 years ago with Smiley on it. That's not our logo anymore, so I think we need to redo our park signs with our new logo. So I'm gonna be soliciting some ideas and help with looking at that, so. And volunteering.
Okay, any other business? Not, I have a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Second,
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.